Hello and welcome to the walking talking topic on area and perimeter, question number 5 with me, Mr. Barton. Okay, we've got a circular logo with radius 8. Now that's going to be important. That's going to mean that little line from the centre to the edge is 8. I always like to label things as and when I get them. All 3 white sectors are equal in size and shape. All 3 shaded sectors are equal in size and shape. Calculate the total area of the shaded sectors. Okay, so if all of these white sectors are equal, then I'm pretty sure that's going to be 50, that's going to be 50, and that's going to be 50. So, is that going to help us with our shaded sectors? Well, yeah, it is, because as long as you know that angles around a point add up to 360, it's not actually going to be that difficult to work out what each of these angles are. So, we've got 360 degrees to play with, and we've already lost 50, 100, and 150. From our white sectors. If we take that away from each other, if my maths is right, I think that's going to leave us with 210. So I'm going to write down that each red has got to be 210, and I've got 1, 2, 3 divided by 3, and I think that's going to be 70 degrees. So each of those is going to be 70 degrees. Now I don't know why I'm saying red. Well, in fact I do. I think it changes them from shaded to red a little bit later on, but just use your imagination. Let's pretend these shaded ones are red ones. Okay, so how do we work out the area of one of these shaded sectors now? Well, we know how to work out the area of a circle, right? That's just going to be equal to pi times radius squared. That'll give us a full circle. But let's take this particular shaded sector. We haven't got a full circle here. We've got 70 degrees worth of a full circle. So we've got 7 degrees out of a full circle, which will be 360 degrees. And that's how I think of it. Areas of segments are just going to be, area of sector, is just how much of a full circle is it? Well, it's 70 degrees out of a full circle, which is 360 degrees. And then you just work out the area of what that full circle would have been. Dead easy. So, as long as you can type on your calculator. So it's going to be 70 out of 360 times by pi times by my radius, which we got from before was 8 squared. Alright, let's turn to the calculator. And I hope you're seeing that it's just so important that you can tap things into your calculator right, otherwise you're going to cost yourself loads of marks. So let's go for 70 over 360 first. Get my fraction button. 70 divided by 360. Move to the right. Times by shift pi. So my pi button was just down there. We've used that in the last few videos. Times by 8, and then my little squared button. Check it looks exactly like you've written down. Then press equals, and that's going to give it in terms of pi. So it's come out as 112 over 9 pi. Press my little SD button, and that gives me 39.095 centimeters squared. What is that number? That number is the area of one sector. That's just one of those sectors. So if we want the total area, because that's what it's asked for, I'll put total shaded area. Well, we've got 3 of them, so it's just going to be 39.095 but we're going to times it by 3. Now the beauty of it is it's already on our calculator, so just a little hit times by 3, press equals. Again, it's going to give it me in terms of pi, but press my little SD button, and I'm going to get 117.286 units centimeters squared. Quite tricky, but not too bad. Now, what's happening here now? The whole perimeter of all the shaded sectors, so we're talking perimeter and we're talking shaded sectors, is to be drawn in red. This is where I've got red from. Calculate the total length of all these red boundary lines. Now, this is a step up in difficulty, but we're going to be fine. So let's think what lines we're talking about. So we're talking about, for example, that line, then to that line, and then the curvy arc there. And then we'll have to do it again. That line, curvy arc. So if we can just get one of these kind of sets of 3 lines, then we're just going to be able to times it by 3. So that's good news. But how are we going to get one of these sets of curvy lines? Well, let's think what it's made up of. You've got a line from the centre to the circumference. Well, that's just the radius. And you've got a line from the centre to the circumference. That's just the radius. So that's good news. So we've got to remember to add on 2 radiuses. How are we going to get this line here, this curvy line, this arc? Well, it's a similar process to how we got the sectors. We know how to get a total circumference, But we don't want a total circumference. We just want 70 degrees worth of a circumference. So we want 70 out of 360 degrees worth of what a full circumference would be. So I'm going to write it down. I'm going to put arc length is going to be equal to, so I want 70 degrees out of 360 times by, and how would I get a full circumference? Well, a full circumference is just pi times by diameter. That gives me a full circumference of a circle. So that's going to give me just a single bit of that arc length. Well, that's what I want. So it's going to be 70 over 360 times by pi. Now don't mess this bit up. What's your diameter? Well, your radius is 8, so your diameter is double that, 16. Alright, let's bang that into the calculator. Let's see what comes out. So, fraction time. 70 over 360, move to the right, times by, shift pi, times by 16, press equals, press my SD button. That's going to give me 9.7738 ... and that is centimeters. Okay, so that's my arc length. Now, to get my perimeter, we spoke about that I'm going to need to add on those two radiuses. So I'm going to get my 9.7738 ... and I'm going to have to add on 8 and then add on another 8. Beauty of it is it's still in my calculator, so I'll add on 8 and then I'll add on another 8, and I'm going to get 25.7738 ... centimeters. Now what is that? Oh, sorry, I should have written that down there. What is that? That is perimeter of one sector. So if I want the total perimeter, I'm going to have to take that number and I'm going to have to times it by 3. So it's going to be 25.7738 ... times it by 3. Here's the good news, it's still on my calculator. Times it by 3, press equals, and I'm going to get 77.321 ... and that's going to be centimeters because we're dealing with perimeter. Flipping out, that was quite a tricky question, but hopefully not too bad.